Jerry Brown here with Jerry Brown Travels.
Laura here.
Well, in this video, we want to clarify some of the comments that we received this week on a couple of videos that we've made. And so we hope that doing these little videos like this answers some of your questions. And so one of the questions that really resonated and we really wanted to get back with you on was a comment that came in and said, Jerry and Lori, I've been watching your videos since you had 1,000 subscribers, and now we have 30,000. And she says, I'm going to stop watching you because you said don't adopt a dog. And so let us clarify that thing. Lori, come on, let's hear what your feelings are about that subject of adopting a dog or don't adopting a dog when you come to Mexico on a vacation.
Well, if you come to the Mexico on a vacation, please don't adopt the dog for a couple of days or couple of months. If you're going to adopt the dog, please make the right paper, adopt the dog for the whole life. If you go back home, please take the dog with you. I don't want you to adopt a dog just a couple months and then you put them back in the street. That it wasn't fair to the dog. That's what we very mean it. I'm very mean that too. If I'm going to adopt an animal, a dog or cat or squirrel or mongoose or whatever it is, I'm gonna adopt them until they die with me. They was my baby, and I won't adopt just a couple months or a couple days and then let them back on the street. So no, that's what we mean.
Yeah.
Don't adopt the dog when you come here for a couple months.
Yeah, you can see Lori is very passionate about this subject because what does happen down here, and we have seen it more than once, where people come down for, let's say, 2, 3, or 4 months, and they like an animal, they want to have a little companion here, and it's fun to have a dog around you, and so they get a street dog, and they bring it in their house, they feed it, they take care of it, they give it a bath, they may even take it to a veterinarian to get medical care, and then I can't understand it, but what they do when they get ready to leave, they just take the dog, put him back on the street, and there he is. He's now a street dog again, and he's been now sort of socialized as being a pet. And so we find that to be very, very cruel that somebody would do that. Now, because you can adopt a dog here, you can take it home with you. And so if you get the proper paperwork done, and you get the shots and everything that it does, and then you have a loving companion, for the rest of your life. But don't adopt in a dog if you're only going to come down here and you're going to put it back on the streets, because that's not fair to the animal. And
or the other hand, you can adopt it and then you can find some place for them, to go to the house and somebody can take care of them. That means very great. We're happy with that.
Yeah, that's a good point, Lori, is that so maybe you don't want to, take it home, and that's not going to be convenient for you. But there are people here love dogs, and so they look around and just spend that little extra time to find somebody that will take the dog. So just give it a second thought before you just rush into something, because remember, it's quite a responsibility that you're taking on caring for an animal. So. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, what is the next question?
Okay, Lori, the next question here is driving at night. And so what is our experience at driving at night, Lori? Or not driving at night, because we say don't drive at night. What we're talking about here and now, what we're talking about to you is that we're talking about driving through Mexico, not driving at night when you're driving through Mexico.
Yeah, we don't like to drive at night because our eye is not very good. So that's why we don't recommend to drive at night, because at night sometimes the animal run across the street. You can hit the animal, you can wreck the car without, expecting a lot of cat, a lot of dog, and a lot of animal. Sometimes the cow or the horse run across the street. You can't break it right away. So I don't recommend to drive at night. Well, if you're necessary to drive at night, please be careful.
Yeah, and so just the other day, a gentleman came down here, Tony, and he was telling us about his car. Wow. Totally wiped it out. because he was driving at night and he was in a rural area. And lo and behold, a cow had gotten out from the pasture and he hit it.
Ooh.
Yeah, and he said it wasn't a pretty sight at all. And so luckily he didn't get hurt. He had airbags and stuff like that. So that's when we're saying don't drive at night. Now, we do drive at night occasionally here, in around town. And sometimes if we're in Guadalajara and we're staying a little bit later than we thought, then we'll drive back. And of course, we'll drive back at night. The other thing that I've done, and again, I've been driving in Mexico for over 40 years, is when I have had to leave real early in the morning because I want to get an early start, and it is dark, what I do is I get behind a big truck, and I let that truck be our bumper, and this way if some gal's in the way, that truck will take care of business for us. So we've never had that problem, but always be careful. Let's go into another question here, Lori.
Okay, what's the other question?
But one of the touching comments that was made to me was there's a gentleman that says, Jerry, when you talk about living in Mexico, it seems like you're directing your videos to the very wealthy. And he was saying he's totally disabled. He gets $700 a month to live on. And he says, where can I live in Mexico on $700 a month? Well, a Mexican family could live on $700 a month because they have family around them. If you had only $700 a month and you want to live in Mexico, you could find a small village in the middle of Mexico and you probably could survive. Not if you were disabled, no. So what we recommend in that particular case is that you stay in your country. You stay, let's say, in the United States, where you can get Medicare, where you can get food services like food stamps, where you can get handy bus services, or you get free bus passes. There's so many benefits that you have there in the United States that you wouldn't have down here. So it would be quite a challenge to come here. You're going to have to set up doctors. You're going to have to set up a place to live. You're going to have to meet people that maybe could transport you around. The bus system here is not convenient if you are totally disabled. The sidewalks aren't convenient. The streets are not convenient. The streets and sidewalks are not wheelchair friendly. They're not wheelchair friendly.
Yeah, they're not wheelchair friendly at all because of cobblestone, and they don't have enough sidewalk for you on your wheelchair. I think you better live where you are. It very comfortable here. Don't have to come to Mexico for $700 a month. I don't recommend that.
No. So, and now realistically, what for a person coming down, a single person that's in moderately good health and they can get around, you're probably looking, if you want a number in there, about $1,500 a month and up. Now, you're not going to live in Ajijic on that amount of money. You're going to need to go into Chapala to do
Either
that.
Chapala or Hocotepec or San Juan Coastla, where it's a small. Chapala is not a small town, but it's still, a lot of places you can find it cheaper.
Okay.
Just a little bit more. Don't go. Well, if you have to go, please come back.
Okay, good. Now let's go into another question here. Lori, somebody asked about, they were confused when we said in the video, turn in your visa when you leave the country. And this video we made was 15 reasons what not to do, in visiting here. And so we said, turn in your visa. That person, that was Mark, was concerned about that. So what do you have for that?
Well, to turn in a visa or not turn in a visa. So when you get into the country, you fill up the paper as a form. And then when you go through to immigration, the immigration going to take half of that and then you give you back half. And the other half, the one that give it to you, that's your visa for 180 days. Please don't throw that away. Keep in your passport all the time. That is your visa. If you throw that away, when you go back out to your country, gonna be a lot of humbug.
A lot of humbug. And so just recently down here, having a cup of coffee with a gentleman, and they come down and they ask us questions. We love answering your questions. And when you come down here, and so I says, well, let's talk about visas. And he goes, well, I
What
don't
visa?
Yeah, what visa? I says, well, the visa you got on the airplane. He says, I didn't get a visa. And I says, no, you did. It was a piece of paper you signed, you filled out before you landed. You had to give that to immigration. Well, they give you a piece of paper. It's 2 parts. They tear off one part. They put that with your passport. They don't staple it at all. They don't staple it. They just give it to you, put in your passport. Well, apparently what he did is he went home and he threw it away. And so luckily what happened was, because I mentioned it to him, he was able to go back home and find it in his trash can. But that would have been a real big problem for him to leave the country. So don't, lose that piece of paper. Turn in the other half of your visa. Another question, Lori, here is, this is
What question? Too many questions.
okay, here's the one. We just did one on Lori's birthday. And
Whoa, my birthday.
Yeah, and that was a lot of fun. But people ask, how old is Lori? And I told them, I'm not touching that subject for anything. And so, Lori, do you want to share that with our viewers here? Do you want to share how old you are?
Okay, thank you for all of you, and then say happy birthday to me. I think I have over 1,000 people say, send me a message from Facebook or YouTube, say happy birthday to me. Well, thank you so much for grateful that I'm happy with that. You want to know how old I am for real? Now you gotta think about, I was 99, turn around, upside down. So can you figure that out? Right number 99. And then you turn it up, and then you can figure out how old I am. So that's a question and a trick. If you can figure it out, you know how old I
am. Okay, make a comment there and see if you're understood how old Lori is here. Okay, look, the video's run a little bit longer than we wanted it to, so we want to say thanks for subscribing. Make comments, a lot of comments. We do appreciate them. And so, from Mexico, adios. Till next time. And keep watching our videos.
See you till next time.
Yeah.
Hasta luego.
We've got some really good ones coming up Saturday for you. Okay, adios. Bye.
Bye.
To you until we meet again. Happy trails.